Welcome to Prepared to Live. I'm the Chief, and today we're talking about water and your bug out location. I'm less than a quarter of a mile from my bug out location. Now that's not my number one means of survival. As a matter of fact, we plan to shelter in place for as long as possible. But if we reach a point where we have to bug out, we have a bug out location and we have plenty of water around us. As a matter of fact, this is not even our primary water supply. We have a drilled well that's gravity fed from up on top of the mountain as our primary water supply. But this is a great alternate because it's not just about water to drink. Water does so many things. Let's talk about some of those things that water does and why it's so important that you have it at your bug out location. 55 to 60% of our bodies are water. Over 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Water is important. When we think about water, it's one of the most important elements of survival. 3 days without water is as long as you can live. And everybody knows that rule. Everybody understands how important it is to have water to drink. When we talk about having a water source like this close to our bug out location, this is a huge advantage. Number one, because this provides clean drinking water. Downstream, there's a large campground. Upstream from here, before the head of this water source, there's nothing. There's no homes. There's nothing upstream from this. It literally goes into the mountains and it's clean water running down. A pro tip, when you have something like this, if you stick your water in it and it's cool to the touch and it's moving, I just use a survival straw and drink from it. There's very few waterborne viruses in North America. However, if it's warm and it's still, it's not moving, I will filter that with a life straw or a Sawyer Mini, but I will also boil it or use purification tablets in it just to make sure that any viruses that may be there are killed. But your normal filtration systems will filter out all the bacteria that's in the water. But drinking water is just one advantage. Water is teeming with life. This stream right here is one of the most populated brown trout streams in our entire region. There's also other types of fish here. So harvesting fish is a huge advantage to having a water source like this. But it's not just fishing. There's also crawfish. There's also freshwater eels. There's all kinds of life here. And learning how to harvest that, not waiting until something goes wrong and then thinking you're going to figure it out. The learning curve is too steep. You can harvest with just a line and tackle. But that's not the most efficient way to harvest fish. Trot lines, gill nets, fish traps and fish baskets are all ways, limb lines are all ways to harvest fish, and you need to practice each one of those methods and learn how to do those things so that you can become proficient with them. But before you practice those things, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you check the laws in your state and in the body of water where you are to see what methods of harvest are legal. And then you need to move to the bodies of water where you can try different methods, even cast netting in still water. You need to go to those places and learn those different methods, because in a survival situation, all of those things are out the window when it's just about you and sustaining life. You need to know how to use every one of those methods. But it's beyond fish and crawfish and freshwater eels and those kind of things. Water brings life. Edges, there's a principle of permaculture that says edges bring life. On the edges of water where land and water comes together, it's teeming with biodiversity. There's frogs, there's snakes, there's small mammals, small game animals. Even large game animals come to the edges of water. It's those places where light and shade meet. Any edge is a place where life will teem. And a river or stream creates a long edge surface. This place will be teeming with morel mushrooms in the spring. Also, wild edibles to forage and eat. There's all kinds of life here near a water source. And then the other thing that water does is regulate temperature and sanitation. On a hot day, to be able to come and regulate your body temperature in a body of water like this is something that can't be discounted. We have a limited window to work in when things are warm, especially when we're in a cooler climate like this. So to be able to regulate that body temperature, to be able to get back to work so that we don't push ourselves to exhaustion or to heat stroke is another huge advantage to water. And sanitation, to have a place to bathe. Bathing is important to survival. Just the daily grind of surviving creates friction in areas you don't want friction. So to be able to bathe and to be able to stay clean is another huge advantage to having a water source. Now, we're about a quarter of a mile from our bug out location. So this is not our primary water source. As a matter of fact, we have an elevated approach to this water source so that we can view it and make sure that there's no other people here as we approach it. So safety is a factor when considering water. So I would say don't camp on the water in a bug out situation because everyone's looking for water. Use an elevated position so that you can look down and make sure things are safe as you approach. But in our bug out location, which we're going to show you in another video, we actually have a drilled well, and then we pump into a reservoir, and it's gravity fed to all of the homes there at our HQ. And that's our primary water source. But this is a fantastic secondary water source. When you're bugging out, having a plan is important. Knowing where you're going is important. Having a water source there is important. Like I said earlier, our primary strategy is not bugging out, it's staying where we are. But if we do bug out, we have a plan, we have a strategy. We understand security and safety. We have 2 great water sources, but we have sit down and we've taken the time to know where we're going, how we're going to get there, and how we're going to survive once we're there. You need to do the same thing. I've got a video right here that I want you to watch next. It's going to help you understand food and how much food you need to survive. So now that you understand water, here's a video about food. Thank you so much for watching. This is Prepared to Live. Hope to see you on the next video.